Welcome to the Feathered Report, where the guys from Upduck discuss the latest news from the worlds of upland and waterfowl.
There's the ding, as Tyler likes to say. Ba-ding! Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Feathered Report. This is a new thing for us. The guys over here at Upduck, we're trying to bring some breaking news, some current news, maybe even some historical news that we found fascinating, something we read in a book, read in an article, whatever it may be. So this is our second episode, and this one might be a little bit touchy. And by no means, are we trying to bring any political viewpoints into this podcast. All we're doing here is stating some facts and what some people's opinions might be on a certain topic. What I can say is that I do trust our current administration, and I'm hopeful that all of these changes, even though some of them may be considered a little harsh and unfair, are for the greater good, and that we see some positive changes here in the near future. So today, this quick episode, I'm going to be talking about guns, talking about ammo, talking about gun accessories, all the things that we love, things that we need to hunt, et cetera, et cetera. So the fortunate or unfortunate part about a lot of these things is a good chunk of these materials that are used to manufacture guns, ammo, gun accessories, so on and so forth. The materials that we use to make them are imported from other countries. And these countries, these are the countries that may be involved with some of the recent tariffs and some of the retaliation efforts that some of these countries are doing because of said tariffs, so on and so forth. So the first one I'll talk about is ammo. So in retaliation of the tariffs that were imposed by the U.S., China has retaliated. Sorry, I can't talk tonight. And added certain metals to their export controlled list. So some of the big ones here are being tungsten and bismuth. The cost of imported bismuth has went up almost 40% since these tariffs and export controlled list and all this stuff has happened. 40%, that's a big number. And now exporters in China are having to obtain permission to perform these overseas sales, which, could cause delays and things like that. So some people might not know China is the world leader of bismuth exports, and that accounts for 80% of the total output in the world, which is a huge number. So what does that mean? It means that we may see an increase in ammo prices here to account for these, surging material prices. We can't really expect these shot shell manufacturers to, just eat these costs. If it costs them more to make the product, it's going to cost us more to buy it. That's just the way the world works. We also might see some supply chain issues, trickle down as well. As it becomes harder and harder for these exporters to sell these metals to overseas companies like the U.S. So if you are in need of some ammo, now could be a good time to stock up while the prices are stable. The inventory seems like it's pretty under control. Come the fall, that could potentially change. Again, these are just people's opinions. Who knows what's going to happen in this crazy world? But as of right now, a lot of these manufacturers are kind of giving out the warning flags, if you will, that they may see some price increases here. I know I received an email from Boss Shot Shells. If you follow them, they're pretty good at keeping their subscribers and their customers up to date on the state of their company, which I always enjoy reading those things. And one of the main ones that they've been touching on lately is these increases in their goods. So, and that may very well trickle down to the consumer, unfortunately. So not only are ammo prices going up, I've read some articles too that gun prices could also be on the rise as well. These tariffs, not just bismuth and tungsten, but they also include, steels and aluminums. Steel and aluminum are used for barrels, springs, receivers, a lot of different components on your firearms. Canada, Mexico, and China, those three countries are all huge suppliers of steel and aluminum into the United States. So the goal here, obviously, is, at least I think, is to bring more of that business into the United States. I mean, which is great, right? More made in the USA items. But at this very moment, an increase in demand for US manufacturers, there could be some growing pains involved with this as well. An increase in demand that could possibly cause some delays in the supply chain, at least temporarily. At least I would hope it would be temporarily. So again, I know I said it at the beginning of this report that I do trust all these changes will have a positive impact in the future, but we may see some of the temporary increases and delays here in the short term. So because of that, as I also mentioned, some companies are suggesting that we stock up on ammo or maybe pull the trigger, and grab that new firearm that you've been eyeing up for the last few months or so before we start seeing some of these prices trickle down. So yeah, that's all I got for this edition of the Feathered Report. So hopefully we can continue this. Hopefully you guys enjoy this, and please give us any feedback. We love connecting with everybody on social media. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook. Those are our two main platforms. And if you do enjoy the podcast, please leave us a review. Cannot stress it enough that helps us and helps keep this thing going. So yeah, with that, have a good night, everybody, or day, or morning, or whenever you listen to this podcast, and we will catch you next time.